Those two numbers are the median monthly cost of renting and the median monthly cost of owning a home with a mortgage in America, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. One of them is $548 cheaper every single month. And it's not the one most personal finance content tells you to chase. Everyone has an opinion on renting versus buying. Almost nobody backs it up with the actual government data. Today, using verified numbers from the Census Bureau, Freddie Mac, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics, we're going to do the real math, not the version that fits neatly into a 30-second TikTok, but the version that actually holds up. Let's establish exactly where the housing market stands right now, because the rent versus buy debate only makes sense against real current numbers. According to Freddie Mac's primary mortgage market survey, the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate stood at 6.67% as of August 13, 2026. According to the Census Bureau and the Department of Housing and Urban Development's joint new residential sales report, the median sales price of a new house sold in June 2026 was $398,300. And according to the Federal Housing Finance Agency's House Price Index, national home prices rose 1.7% between the first quarter of 2025 and the first quarter of 2026, the slowest annual appreciation pace since 2012. On the renting side, the Census Bureau's American Community Survey found that median gross rent, meaning rent plus the average cost of utilities, reached $1,487 in 2024, up 2.7% from the year before. Meanwhile, median monthly owner costs for a homeowner carrying a mortgage reached $2,035 in 2024, up 3.8% from 2023, according to the same census release. So right away, the headline numbers tell a more complicated story than either renting is throwing money away or buying is always better. Let's dig into why. Here's the actual problem with most rent versus buy content. It treats this as a single number comparison, monthly rent versus monthly mortgage payment, when the real comparison involves at least 4 separate variables: monthly cash cost, equity built, opportunity cost of the money not spent, and how long you actually plan to stay. The census data already shows monthly cash cost is not straightforward. Renters spent a median of 31% of their income on housing in 2024, while homeowners with a mortgage spent a median of 21.4%, according to the Census Bureau's American Community Survey. On the surface, that looks like a clear win for buying. But it's not quite an apples-to-apples comparison. Homeowners as a group tend to have different income levels and life stages than renters as a group, and that 21.4% figure doesn't include the upfront cash required to become a homeowner in the first place, which is a separate and substantial hurdle. That hurdle is real. At the current median new home price of $398,300, even a modest FHA-style 3.5% down payment, a figure set by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, comes to roughly $13,940 in upfront cash, before closing costs. That's not nothing. And for a lot of renters, it's the actual barrier keeping them renting, regardless of what the monthly math eventually looks like once they're in. The opportunity buried in this problem is that renting versus buying isn't really one question. It's 2 separate questions people often blend together. Can I afford to get in? And once I'm in, which option costs less and builds more wealth? Answering them separately, with real numbers, is what the rest of this video does. It's also worth naming why this debate gets so heated online despite the data being publicly available. Both renting is throwing money away and buying is a trap are simple, quotable positions that travel well on social media. The actual federal data doesn't hand either side a clean, permanent win. It hands both sides a real number that shifts depending on income, location, mortgage rates, and time horizon. That's a less satisfying headline, but it's the version that actually matches what the Census Bureau, FHFA, and BLS are reporting right now. Let's lay out the full data picture, line by line. Monthly cost, median gross rent, $1,487 per month, per the Census Bureau's 2024 American Community Survey. Median monthly owner cost for mortgaged homeowners, $2,035 per month, per the same survey, a difference of $548 per month, or $6,576 per year, in favor of renting on a pure cash outflow basis. Home price trend. The FHFA House Price Index shows national home prices rose 1.7% year over year as of the first quarter of 2026. Positive, but the slowest pace of appreciation since 2012, according to FHFA's own release. That's a meaningfully different environment than the rapid price growth of 2020 through 2022. Rent trend. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Price Index, the Shelter Index, which captures both rent and owner's equivalent rent, rose 3.2% year over year as of the July 2026 CPI release. Notably, that means typical rent growth has been running faster than typical home price growth over the past year, based on these two federal data sources. Mortgage rate. Freddie Mac's PMMS put the 30-year fixed rate at 6.67% as of August 13, 2026, well above the roughly 3% rates common in 2021, which fundamentally changes the monthly cost of financing the same home price compared to a few years ago. Homeownership by income. The Census Bureau's Housing Vacancy Survey for the second quarter of 2026 found the homeownership rate for households earning at or above the median family income was 77.9%, compared to 52.1% for households earning below the median. That's not a judgment about who should own, it's a data point showing how directly income constrains this decision for a large share of the country. Let's break down the actual mechanics behind why this comparison is more complicated than which number is smaller. First, rent is a pure expense. A mortgage payment is partially an expense and partially forced savings. Every dollar of rent is gone. A portion of every mortgage payment, the principal portion, not the interest, taxes, or insurance, goes toward building equity you'll eventually get back, either when you sell or simply as net worth on paper. Early in a 30-year loan, most of the payment is interest, not principal, which is a detail a lot of simplified rent versus buy comparisons skip entirely. Second, buying carries upfront and ongoing costs that renting doesn't. Beyond the down payment, buyers typically face closing costs and ongoing costs like property taxes, homeowners insurance, and maintenance. The Census Bureau's own owner cost figure of $2,035 a month already bundles in mortgage payment, insurance, taxes, and utilities together, which is exactly why it's higher than the mortgage payment alone would suggest, and it doesn't include maintenance or repairs, which vary widely and aren't tracked in that specific census figure. Third, the money not spent on a down payment has its own opportunity cost. If a renter keeps that $13,940 plus in a down payment fund instead of tying it up in a home, that money can be invested elsewhere and potentially grow, though it's also then exposed to market risk instead of being converted into a fixed, tangible asset. Neither path eliminates risk, it just relocates where that risk sits. Fourth, time horizon changes everything. Closing costs and the slower early loan equity build mean buying tends to only catch up to renting financially after several years in the same home. Someone planning to stay in one place for 2 years faces a very different calculation than someone planning to stay for 15. Let's walk through composite, realistic scenarios grounded in the verified data above. Not real individuals, but representative examples. Scenario 1. The renter. Picture a household paying the national median gross rent of $1,487 a month. Over a year, that's $17,844 in housing costs. All of it in expense, none of it building equity. If that household instead keeps a comparable amount of cash on hand, say, what would have been a down payment, invested elsewhere, they carry market risk on that money but retain full flexibility to move without any transaction costs. Scenario 2. The buyer. Picture a household purchasing near the national median new home price of $398,300, with a 3.5% down payment of roughly $13,940, at Freddie Mac's current average 30-year rate of 6.67%. Their all-in monthly cost, if it tracks the Census Bureau's national median owner cost figure, lands around $2,035. Higher than the median renter's monthly cost by $548. In year 1, Most of that mortgage payment is servicing interest, not principal, meaning equity builds slowly at first. But every year they stay, a larger share of each payment shifts toward principal, and if their local home value even modestly appreciates in line with the FHFA's national 1.7% pace, their net worth position relative to renting begins to close the gap and, over enough years, can overtake it. Scenario 3. The short-term mover. Picture a household that expects to relocate for work within 2 to 3 years. Even with the exact same numbers as Scenario 2, closing costs and the slow early equity build mean this household is far less likely to come out ahead financially by buying. The fixed transaction costs of buying and then selling again quickly eat into any equity gained in such a short window. The comparison isn't renting is smarter or buying is smarter in the abstract. It's that the same national numbers produce very different outcomes depending on how long someone stays and what they do with the cash they didn't put into a down payment. This is where a lot of rent versus buy content gets dangerously oversimplified. Mistake 1. Comparing rent to the mortgage payment alone, not full owner costs. The Census Bureau's $2,035 median figure already includes insurance, taxes, and utilities alongside the mortgage payment. Using just the loan payment by itself dramatically understates what owning actually costs monthly. Mistake 2. Ignoring maintenance entirely. The census owner cost figure doesn't isolate a specific maintenance line, and unlike a rental where a landlord typically covers major repairs, homeowners absorb those costs directly and unpredictably. A skipped maintenance budget is one of the most common ways a buying decision that looked affordable on paper turns into a financial strain in practice. Mistake 3. Assuming home prices always outpace rent growth. As we covered, the most recent data actually shows the opposite pattern. FHFA tracked home price growth at 1.7% annually was slower than BLS tracked shelter cost growth at 3.2% annually. Assuming appreciation will bail out an otherwise stretched purchase is not something current federal data supports as a guarantee. Mistake 4. Underestimating the down payment plus closing cost cash requirement. Even at a relatively low 3.5% down payment on a median-priced new home, the upfront cash need approaches $14,000 before closing costs are added, a number that can catch first-time buyers off guard if they've only budgeted for the down payment percentage they saw quoted online. Mistake 5. Treating this as a permanent, one-time decision. The math genuinely shifts based on how long you stay, what mortgage rates do, and what happens to your local market, none of which are fixed. A decision that made sense to rent in one set of conditions or to buy in another isn't a decision you're locked into relitigating never again. It's worth revisiting as your circumstances and the data change. Let's line the core figures up directly. Median gross rent, $1,487 per month. Census Bureau ACS, 2024. Median monthly owner cost, mortgaged, $2,035 per month. Census Bureau ACS, 2024. A $548 monthly gap. Median rent as share of renter income, 31%. Census Bureau ACS, 2024. Median owner cost as share of owner income, 21.4%. Census Bureau ACS, 2024. FHFA national home price growth, plus 1.7% year over year, Q1 2026. BLS shelter/rent cost growth, plus 3.2% year over year, July 2026. Average 30-year mortgage rate, 6.67%. Freddie Mac, August 13, 2026. Home ownership rate, above median income households, 77.9%. Census Bureau Q2 2026. Home ownership rate, below median income households, 52.1%. Census Bureau Q2 2026. The comparison that actually matters isn't the national median against the national median. It's your local rent, your local home prices, and your specific timeline against these same categories. But the national pattern is instructive. Renting currently costs less in raw monthly cash terms, while owning consumes a smaller share of income for those who've already gotten in, and rent costs have recently been climbing faster than home values nationally, a genuinely different dynamic than the rents only go up while home prices are frozen narrative from a few years ago. So what should someone actually do with all of this? First, run your own numbers, not the national median. Your local rent, your local home prices, and your specific mortgage rate quote will differ from these national figures, sometimes significantly. The framework, full monthly owner cost versus full monthly rent, plus a realistic maintenance estimate, plus your actual planned time horizon, matters more than any single headline statistic. Second, be honest about your time horizon before you're honest about anything else. Given that buying carries real upfront transaction costs and slow early loan equity build, a genuinely short expected stay, under roughly 3 years, tilts the math toward renting almost regardless of the specific price numbers. A longer expected stay changes that calculation meaningfully, because those fixed costs get spread across more years and more principal gets paid down. Third, don't treat the down payment cash requirement as the only obstacle, and don't treat clearing it as the finish line either. The Census Bureau's own $2,035 median owner cost figure shows that monthly costs after purchase, not just the upfront cash to get in, are a substantial and rising burden, up 3.8% in a single year. A buyer who stretches to make the down payment but hasn't budgeted realistically for the ongoing monthly reality, including maintenance the census figure doesn't fully capture, can end up in a worse financial position than a renter who stayed put. Fourth, remember that this comparison isn't static, and neither is your situation. Mortgage rates move, local rents move, and your own plans for how long you'll stay somewhere can change with a new job, a growing family, or a shift in priorities. The number that matters isn't some fixed national verdict on renting versus buying. It's your own updated math, recalculated with your current local rent, your current mortgage quote, and your honest best guess at how long you'll actually stay. Treating this as a decision you revisit periodically, rather than one you make once and never question again, is itself part of doing the math correctly. The honest answer to renting versus buying isn't a universal winner, it's a framework. And right now, the federal data actually tells a more nuanced story than either side of the debate usually admits. Renting currently costs less in pure monthly cash terms nationally, by a real and verifiable $548 a month. But rent costs have also been climbing faster than home prices over the past year, according to BLS and FHFA data respectively, which erodes the renting is always the cheaper long-term path argument over time. Buying still requires real substantial upfront cash, even at a low 3.5% down payment, and real ongoing costs beyond the mortgage payment alone. But it also converts a portion of every payment into equity that a renter's payment never builds, and that portion grows every single year you stay. Neither path is free of trade-offs, and neither path is free of risk. The data doesn't say buying is smarter, and it doesn't say renting is smarter. It says the right answer depends on your specific numbers, your specific timeline, and what you're honestly prepared to do with the difference. Every figure in this video came directly from the Census Bureau, Freddie Mac, the FHFA, and the BLS, current as of mid-2026. Every source is linked below so you can check your own local numbers against the national picture before making any decision. If this gave you a clearer, less biased way to actually run your own rent versus buy math, that's the goal, not a verdict, a framework. If you want the next video, how to calculate your own personal break-even timeline for buying versus renting, let me know in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss it.